I finally got to reading that article, Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now? And though it was a month ago, we still haven't solved any of those problems. So I wanted to read and see every single paragraph, what is true and what is not in it. Because if you understand, there's always a sliver of truth in almost everything, because that's the anchor that people can write any article or make a video about, because there's something that you can latch onto as an anchor. Now, I'm going to give an honest assessment because I am an unbiased person. I am not here to just be pro women and not men, or be pro men and not women. The species is made up of men and women, so we're going to look at it from both sides. So the beginning of the article was not terrible. Now, I'm not what America would call a feminist, but I'm also not a traditionalist either. I'm not going to be a trad wife, okay? So I recognize that we are in 2025 and we have loads of technology, and though the simple life of the Amish definitely has pros, they're probably laughing at us daily, it's not for everybody. So without regressing, can we progress, flourish, and move forward? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. So I agreed with the beginning of this article. It pretty much said that the sole purpose of many women was that their identity was wrapped up in their boyfriend or their husband. Now, I have known too many women who, without a man, have had no hobbies, no interest, they have trouble making decisions, and then this guy comes into their life, and then everything's about him. I knew that. When I was in my 20s, I had these girlfriends or just these girls that I ran into, and I was like, wow, these people are like super boring. Like, why aren't these girls cultivating their own personalities and confidence? And what I'm not talking about here is being the independent woman. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being an individual person. Everybody should have something to offer as an individual, not necessarily the couple, right? Two individuals come together as a couple. What was presented in this was something, all these new words are popping up. Heterofatalism. It's a straight woman's frustration with the way men behave when dating, characterized by the belief that relationships with men are inherently flawed and emotionally exhaustive. Okay. I don't really know how many options do we have here. You can be straight, you can be single, you can be gay, and I suppose that you could date some sort of AI chatbot, I don't know, robot in the future. So I think our options are pretty bleak here. Men and women have been working together since the beginning of time, so maybe we'll try and make it work. But let's dive into this ridiculous article. What's interesting about this is that we get a lot of different women's opinions. She pulled from different comment sections and content creators, so we get to see the mind of different women, okay? So this woman says, I was in a relationship for 12 years and never once posted about him or talked about him online. We broke up recently and now I don't think I'll ever post about a man again. Even though I'm romantic, I still feel like men will embarrass you even 12 years in, so claiming them feels lame. Okadokadokes. So people have a legitimate fear of posting about their relationship only for it to end 12 years later. Do you think that's legitimate? Sure, why not? Yeah. But the most problematic thing with this paragraph is the lack of personal accountability. What I heard was a person who said that the man apparently was at fault, 100%. So that's why it's lame to claim a man. Well, she didn't mention any of her own problems. Now, that's the issue. If you've ever talked to people who break up, you will find that the woman blames the man and everything in the relationship was his fault. You go to the man and he'll blame the woman. Everything was her fault. But never do you get a person who says, yeah, I failed and I this and, I didn't do that and I should have, but yeah. So guaranteed in this woman's life, both people had failures, but she failed to even address it. It's much easier to just blame the other person, so you don't have to make any life changes. And apparently personal responsibility is not vogue at Vogue. So let's analyze the validity of this next paragraph. This woman, she posts her boyfriend on social media, loses hundreds of followers. She said, even if we were still together, I wouldn't post them here. There's something cringy and embarrassing about constantly posting your partner these days. Okay. There's a part of me that also feels guilty for sharing a partner constantly. The dating landscape is bad. I wouldn't want to be boastful. We're going to break this apart. There's some good things in here and obviously some very bad. I think one of the biggest problems here is People do not have private lives, and they are seeking validation from strangers in almost everything. You are in a relationship. Why do you need validation from another person? First, you're getting validation from this person who's with you, right? Now you need validation from the world about your relationship. Why can't some people just keep some things private in their life? Like, I think there's no level of normalcy, of normal levels of sharing anymore. But I don't know how love and being in love is embarrassing. Because she said that there's something cringy and embarrassing about posting this stuff online. And I don't see how that's possible with the amount of romantasy books that women are reading. Um, Obviously, they want to be in love. This fairy tale, they want this. So what I think we have here is self-protective speech. I think it's a type of deflection, right? If love's not working out for you, it's easier to just say, oh man, it's embarrassing. It's not gonna work out anyway, than to really lean into it and own it. The next part was the fact that she said she wouldn't want to be boastful because of the dating landscape. I think that this is a very important statement. There's a lot of credence here. I think it says a lot about humanity. There was a time, not necessarily about dating, but just in general, where people could enjoy and celebrate with other people and the things that go on in their lives. Now, I realize that social media has made envy like an absolute monster, because we are seeing people's lives, and we wouldn't have seen all the stuff that we see today. You wouldn't even know about these people who are living on the other side of the planet or the country. You would just know your neighbors. And now we see everything about a person. And if you're spending your whole life online, it's hard for somebody to sit there and say, I don't have, but they have. And the problem that I see here is the fact that we can't seem to celebrate the good things that are happening in another person's life if it's not happening to us. So I see the sadness in this. This really opens up the despair that's going on in the country. If this mindset is true about being boastful by posting something good that happens to you, that means that you can't post your wedding if your friends are single and have been for years. You can't celebrate getting pregnant because your friend has infertility problems. We can't post the things that are supposed to make life enjoyable. So celebrations and the so-called showcasing, they're great. They really are, because they show people hope and they give people joy that is in this life. But if people are going to be depressing and they're going to be envious of people and put hateful comments in somebody's section because they are just celebrating something good that happened to them, then that means we can't celebrate with other people and we'll just have a miserable world. So what she said has truth to it. It's just a very, very sad reality if people don't start working on their envy. Let's move on to the next paragraph. This is a content creator. She said that she experienced people unfollowing her when she started to post her romantic relationship. Some of her subscribers said, please don't get a boyfriend. And she then says that her content became less exciting when she was in a relationship. We're going to talk about it. Then she has this amazing statement: being single gives you this ultimate freedom to say and do what you want. And then she noticed that her life was more beige and watered down after she got into a relationship. Okay, loads in there. Please don't get a boyfriend. Why? So that people can be miserable like you? Would you ever say to a person, please don't get a job, don't take that vacation, because I'm not going to? So the entire paragraph is ridiculous because it reeks of strangers' validation. So your followers, if you're a content creator, follow you, right? They take their powerful finger and they click and they press follow or subscribe. So I don't see how a person has to change their life for a subscriber. You don't owe a person anything. It's their choice to press follow. So if a stranger is dictating your life to you, then you have major validation problems, major approval problems. She also mentioned the beigeness. Yeah, I hate beigeness too, but she mentioned it in the sense of relationships. And so I think that says a lot about what we think about relationships. Relationships should bring a sense of peace, calm, stability. And social media is packaging everything up into this sensationalistic movie all the time. So the average person's life is not, you don't just take it and then scrunch it into this 2-hour movie and then package it out for social media. Like that's not the real world. Everybody's day-to-day life is pretty mundane overall. And a relationship is not there. It's not a movie for the world. That's your real private life. So if you're having problem as a content creator with this, then maybe you should find a more edifying job that's not content creation, where you can actually not just put out opinions, but maybe, you know, some edifying content to the world. And then another ridiculous statement in there that I just hate. Being single gives you the ultimate freedom to say and do what you want. No, it does not. And every single person should feel accountable for the words that leave their lips and the actions that they do. So this statement in general, the whole ultimate freedom to say what you want and do, no. That mindset is just wrong and it's detrimental to society. So let's continue this ridiculousness. Obviously, there's no shame in falling in love. There's no shame in trying and failing. As long as we're openly rethinking and criticizing heteronormativity, having a boyfriend will remain somewhat fragile. Okay. First, let me give you the definition of heteronormative so that we can unpack this paragraph, okay? So it's a worldview that presents gender roles as fixed and heterosexuality as the normal or preferred sexual orientation. So life as we have known it for thousands of years. Okay, so she says there's no shame in falling in love. All right, and then goes on to attack heteronormativity. I have a question. What is the motivation here? What are we doing? Is our goal for the nation to be gay? As I said, am not like some sort of traditionalist. I don't agree with every single thing that has taken place under the patriarchy, if you wish, but I also am not seeing women getting together and building things. What I'm hearing is a lot of destroying. It says in the next paragraph that, however, as our traditional roles begin to crumble, maybe we're being forced to reevaluate our blind allegiance to heterosexuality. So this goes along with this whole idea of dismantling the patriarchy. So it's just a lot of destroying, dismantling without putting in good solutions. So like in the patriarchal system, I am 100% against strip clubs, prostitution, porn, wives staying at home with brilliant minds forced to not have an outlet for their creative contributions. So I have problems with the system that was there, but I could also give solutions, not dismantling, just fixing, just tweaking. That's intelligent. That's what we do. We don't just break down structures. You just fix the structures. So, what I have seen is that men at least saw a purpose for women. If you claim that, you know, women were not benefited, men have always seen a purpose to women. I don't really know many men who say, I don't need a woman. That's a very female statement of women are, I don't need a man. That's very, very female, new age female here. But that's not what men have always said. And if somebody says, well, what did men want women for? Okay, let's just go with the worst of the worst. Let's say that men just wanted women to procreate and be a bedmate. Let's say that that's what they wanted women for. What do women want in this system here? It almost seems like they think that men shouldn't exist, like they're sucking up oxygen or something. So apparently in the patriarchy, women had a purpose, but in this newfound feministic world, men don't have a purpose. So if I had to choose the lesser of two evils, at least men don't eradicate half the species. That's what I'm saying. And I don't believe that that's the only reason that men, find value in women. I'm just taking the worst of the worst, if that's the mindset that they even have. So I think that instead of us working together, what we're having is people who don't want to take responsibility at all. And then let's round this out here with this last paragraph. She said, where being single was once a cautionary tale, you'll end up a spinster with loads of cats. It's now becoming desirable in a coveted status. Wow. Another nail in the coffin of a centuries-old heterosexual fairy tale that never really benefited women to begin with. So essentially everything that we have had for thousands of years was just wrong. And apparently, allegedly, where we are today is better. It's amazing how much depression there is everywhere for people to be saying that life is better. I saw a woman comment in a comment section and she said that women were thriving. And she was just like, men need to, they need to buck up. And I just got in there and I said, who are your friends and where are you looking? Because this is the most self-centered ideology I've ever seen. I said, women are not thriving. Men and women alike are both depressed. Epic cases of loneliness. Just because you and your little circle of friends may be doing well with whatever it is that you're doing, who knows what her life is like. That's very self-centered to not see that America as a nation is not doing well as a society, as a people. So I'm going to tell you right here on this page, there's at least one intelligent woman who believes in a heterosexual reality where men and women can work together to complement one another with our unique differences and actually progress, actually overcome these problems and move forward. So remember, guys, this is what's important. It ain't your truth. It's not my truth. It's just the truth.
Join me on the floor and let's see what you can do. Is it just for show? Say, girl, can that body move?